All right, guys, this is Living in the Light podcast number 1. This is the big project that we've been thinking about doing for a long time and finally have just decided that it is time. And we're going to jump into a topic that is bold, but I think if you guys listen through it, no matter what your stance is on it, you're going to maybe learn something new. So, you want to introduce our topic?
Yes. So, we are talking with Pastor Michael Greiner of Harvest Community Church in Pennsylvania.
Hello.
Also happens to be my dad.
Yep.
For guest number 1. And what we're going to be tackling today is, are Christian couples commanded to have kids if they can? So that's where we're going to start out. No controversy there, probably.
Maybe.
So yeah, we're going to jump in and ask a couple questions to our guests to kind of get an introduction there so people know who we're talking to. So,
Okay.
hello, guest.
Hello, Brooke. Hello, Nick. I'm honored to be on your first podcast. This is really cool. I feel really good here.
So tell us about what you do.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a pastor in a rural town, but we have 4 sites. We're a country church with 4 sites, and we're excited about that. I do most of the preaching, but I have a great staff that does all the work. I used to have to work at my job. Now I get to do only the things I like. I preach, I meet people, I disciple, and pastory kind of things. You know, you've seen me grow up. You know what I do.
Well, see, I'm going to ask these same kind of questions to everybody, so we had to kind of use the...
Well, this is the getting out the nuts and bolts part, right?
Yep, this is.
This is the guinea pig podcast.
Well, I'm happy to be your guinea pig.
For sure.
And I can, I don't know, I'm supposed to talk to you and Brooke the whole time, right? This is like Joe Rogan where you just talk
Yeah,
to Joe.
talk to us, don't talk to them.
Yeah, we're
Don't
kind of
talk to
putting you
them.
on the spot.
I'm just ignoring all the people listening.
They'll listen.
But I think, can I say something about them?
Yeah.
I think they're awesome because I think Brooke is awesome. And I've even helped a little bit before, pack some T-shirts and do Living in the Light stuff, but not much. But
and we're collaborating on a big project right now.
yes,
The
we are.
second big project.
Top secret.
It's top secret, and the truth is, you guys are making me work, and I don't mind. It's the kind of work I don't mind doing. But I have a lot of respect for Brooke and what she does. One thing I got to say about both you guys is that you're both concerned about truth.
Yeah.
And Brooke is a dynamo, right? You know that, Nick, and Brooke probably is normally you're all alone talking to a video, right?
Yeah, this is
Now,
different for me.
This is embarrassing, isn't
You have to
it?
sit quietly.
Yeah. So
And I'm front center.
yeah, normally you can just talk, and now are you going to be quiet
Oh no, I have questions for you.
but you don't have anything to say?
I think I'm gonna have.
Anyway.
I think I'm passionate about this topic,
Oh,
but I'm also curious to hear.
what I'll say.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
curious.
I do want to say though that you are the real deal.
Oh.
You're the real deal. I know that you never know when you see someone online if they're the real deal, but you really are who you say you are.
Well,
and
yeah,
truth
I try to
is close to your heart, and you're a little fighter. You're a little fighter.
Well, that's pretty much why we're creating
And
this.
I know you're a fighter because I remember when on your wedding day, you had an aunt who threatened my son. Said, "Don't you dare put cake."
Yeah, Bev.
Shout
Yep.
out to Aunt Bev.
Calling her out.
So there's a lot of people who think it is the height of wrong for Christians to smear cake on each other's face. And then there are others who think, no, it's playful. And as a pastor, I've seen both, and I don't know what to say, all right? So when I heard Aunt Bev say, I mean, she literally threatened his bodily person.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if it was a Christianity thing or just a Southern gentleman.
Yeah, don't you do it. So what happened was, if I remember right, is Nick didn't care what Aunt Bev said.
No.
And he smeared it on your face.
Oh no, it's all on camera.
It's not exactly how it went. I did
The
care.
devious face is on camera.
I had respect for Aunt Bev and for the new family that I was stepping into. And I didn't necessarily have any plans on smearing cake. However, I did have a piece of cake in my hand. And there was a moment when it was time to decide.
No, you literally looked at the camera, like Mackenzie has the pictures where you looked at the camera with the look on your face that said you were going to do it.
I had a piece of cake, and it was time to decide.
It's the
And
look.
I looked, maybe the camera was around
No, you looked
there.
right at
but
it.
I looked right at Kim Coe,
Which
My
is
mom?
Your mom.
mother-in-law. Yes.
And Kim Ko said, that's what she said. For listeners, it's a cake in the face motion is what she said.
By the mother of the bride.
It was like there was the head. It was like clearly.
This story keeps getting better.
There was a mischievous look. No, that is 100%.
No, my mom would do that 100%.
What happened? And
She
so
would.
I said, okay.
I get my firiness.
Well, you
from
know
my
what?
mother.
Actually, that makes sense because you do have respect for Aunt Bev, but wisely you realize
There's a hierarchy.
you should listen to the mother-in-law.
There's a social hierarchy. And for me, my interaction with the mom was going to be a lot more
So
than
anyway,
my interaction with Aunt
The
Bev.
best part was the reaction of the bride. She didn't cry. She didn't wilt.
No, I retaliated.
attacked.
Oh my
I
gosh.
retaliated.
Nick's head was covered with icing when we were done. And she had very little icing on her and,
I got it way
and
worse.
just this wicked smile. She was the cutest thing. I still have those pictures.
Had to do
And,
it. It had to be done.
So that's who she is. She's a plucky girl. But anyway, so it's an honor to be your guest on your first podcast. And I hope it's valuable for you guys. And if not, I just enjoy the fact that we're talking.
No, I think it's going to be good. And we really wanted to create this podcast. We've talked about it for a while, thrown around the idea for a while, but this is just kind of a point in time where we felt like it was best to create a platform that was just something where you can come and enjoy a lot of truth, hopefully, and doing our best to relate whatever we're talking to directly back to scripture. No fluff, no mamby-pamby, we just want to go back to what does the gospel say? What does God have to say about it? So I guess we'll just kind of jump right into it.
So how did you become a pastor and why?
Wow, deep, good questions. Well, as I've always been an extrovert. I had seasons where I was shy, but when I was 19, I got saved, okay? Just to cut to the quick. I became a Christian. I converted, however you want to say. And from the very first time I started going to church, and I hadn't grown up in going to a lot of churches. It just wasn't in our background of any kind. If we did, it was probably Catholic. Might have darkened the doorway of a Protestant church 2 times, maybe. And so I didn't know what to go and look for, but everywhere I went, I wanted to preach. Like I wanted to be the guy up there talking, and I had no idea why, because I didn't know a doggone thing. So I went off to college in the 80s, Penn State. And yeah, and then when I wanted to be in ministry, but by the time I got out, I had a wife and a baby, and I thought, I'm not ready to be a pastor. I'm emotionally not grown up enough. I actually had that evaluation of myself. And then I thought, I can't be a pastor. I wouldn't want me to be my pastor. So I moved to California to, like Jed Clampett. You guys know who Jed Clampett is?
I have no idea.
I've heard reference to the Clampetts.
Okay, the Clampett, you don't
They're
know.
hillbillies, right?
I feel so old. Yeah, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Some people at home may understand who the Clampetts are
Maybe.
coming into this.
Maybe, but probably your listeners are your age, and nobody knows.
I remember the title of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Well, you guys should all go look at YouTube and just see the song, the opening song, right? Jed is in the country, and he's shooting at a critter. And instead of hitting the critter, he strikes oil, black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. You know
I've
that
seen
song?
it, yes.
Okay.
There you go. You're cultured.
So,
I've seen it before. I just didn't know their names were the Clampetts.
Yeah, why did I bring up the
guess.
Clampetts?
I don't know.
You were like Jed Clampett because you went to California.
I went to California, and then I ended up working for a drugstore company. And then when I hit about 30, I was in the training field where I got up and I taught. It's boring. Management hires how to run a drugstore. And not that I knew, but I had a book that said how, and my job was to do the classroom work and the on-the-job training work. And it was fun. But when I hit 30, I said, no, it's time. I'm ready to be a preacher. And my wife, at first, I said, why don't we quit this job and I go to seminary and I go be a preacher? And her initial reaction was, we have 2 kids. I was thinking we'd start thinking about how to buy a house. And I thought, well, that is a good idea. Here's another one. But my wife, Lori, she's a gamer. And so she said, okay. So we bought a trailer for $10,000, which we borrowed in South Carolina. So now I really am, I'm all out Jed Clampett now.
Back to the other side of the country.
Yeah, and went to Columbia, South Carolina, the seminary that's there, and then I was 33. I just started asking people, "Hey, want to give me a job being your preacher?" One church did in New Jersey. I was there 7 years, and then I came here to the country.
Yeah.
To the country.
And that's
in
16.
a town called Kittanning, Pennsylvania. I didn't even know it existed. 16 years ago? No, 20. 1997 is when I started. 16 years here, 7 years
Right,
there. So
right.
23.
23 years. I knew an answer. I gave it away. So, you at 30 decided to switch careers.
Yeah.
Which now that I'm 30, now would be the time when you did it. So imagine me going to get my master's degree now in something completely unrelated to what I'm doing. And
But also think of selling all you have and moving to another state, buying a trailer that's not furnished and living in it.
yeah, that's a big jump.
You know what? I encourage people all the time. Chase your dream. This is America. It's hard to starve in America. And I know that's not politically popular with some people, but it's really hard to starve in America. You might as well go for it. Instead of keep doing something you don't want to do anyway.
It's pretty much what we did.
Yeah, you
We
guys
haven't quit our jobs.
Yeah, you guys are go. But you see, well, I won't even compare. You guys have already bought a house.
We have a different situation.
We do
Well,
have
you're
a different
paying for a
situation.
house. The bank owns a house, but you're buying one.
does.
So you're way ahead of me and your mother. We weren't as sharp as you two.
No comment.
I'm not.
We also didn't have 2 kids.
And for those who don't know
We had a
us,
good head start.
the really cool thing is I've seen Nick who sings, and I've heard him speak in public, and I've seen Brooke sing, and I've seen your videos. I'm very out loud and extroverted, but these two people, you two, are not
Complete opposite.
by nature.
Complete opposite.
So I'm a little worried that I'm going to talk too much on this podcast. So
Well, that's
No.
kind of our goal, is for you to talk a lot
Well,
on this.
that's a win. You don't have to do much to make that happen. Okay, so is that enough?
I think so.
Is that enough?
I had another question. Did you have any more before we
No, I don't
cut
think
the
so.
wall? So I had one other question before we move into.
Should we give them some questions and answers right off the bat? What do you want to? Go ahead.
What do you mean, give them questions and answers?
You
Like,
said
get
they're
direct to the
You
point,
mean
I
save
think.
this?
You say cut the wall?
I have one more thing.
Okay,
One more
go ahead.
question.
Yeah.
Why did you have kids?
Did you want kids when you had your first
Or
kid?
did you think about it at all?
Now, I was saved at 19 and very much an idiot, right? By idiot, I don't mean like I was walking into walls and eating my socks, but I had no coherent worldview. So I became a Christian, began to learn the Bible then. I got married before I was 22. So I actually didn't give it a lot of thought before that. Now, of course, my wife wanted to have babies. And I thought, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And actually, James Dobson helped me a lot, because I was in the 80s. I would have to drive back and forth from my house to my school. And I would listen to him, and he would talk about family, and I listened to Christian radio. And I began to form, let's say, a theology of kids. But just as we lived, it was just something you do. I just figured that goes love and marriage, right? You get married, you have a baby carriage. What was that one? Nick and Brooke sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
See,
First
Lori-
comes love, then comes marriage.
Lori, his wife, told me, she said that you did not want kids initially.
Oh,
She
no.
said that she wanted kids and you were like kind of on the fence about it, which
No.
really surprises me.
No, well, it's not. Okay, I don't want to contradict my wife. But I'm
She's
gonna-
not here to
That's
defend
what
So I'm
herself.
going to contradict my wife. I think it would be safer to say I didn't have any vision of life very far down the road at all.
Because you were a baby.
And I wasn't the kind of person who set a lot of goals. Before I became a Christian, I just wanted to party, okay? I didn't want to destroy myself with chemicals, but I did want to just party and hang out with young people, because I was young, just hang out and party. I wanted to live that lifestyle. And I wasn't thinking very far down the road. I was very immature in that area of my life. And so when I got saved, I began to piece together the way you're supposed to live your life. And then I got married. Kids just come along. But I didn't think of setting a goal. Let's have kids. Right. I figured if you keep doing the thing that creates kids, kids are going to start showing up. And then you're going to have to feed them. And that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. Now, very shortly after getting married, my wife got pregnant, and that was ectopic. So we lost it right away. And yeah, frankly, that was a bigger deal for her than me. I cared that my wife lived. It was like this was endangering her literal life.
Right.
I wasn't, I think first I was young, plus I'm a male, plus she's a female. She's in touch with the fact that as soon as she finds out she's pregnant, she's losing the baby. And so she finds out the two at the same time. And so I was just happy she lived.
Yeah.
But she was concerned, now I only have one tube, are we going to have a baby? And so then that became a regular, let's say, monthly topic, if you know what I mean. Scared to get pregnant, scared not to get pregnant. In other words, wanting to be pregnant, but afraid, what if I lose this one too?
Right.
And so no, I just didn't give a lot of thought. To say I didn't want kids, no, that isn't right.
I'm showing Lori.
We'll have to have another one with her. Yeah. She can give her side of the story, and we'll have them together.
Should we fight right on? No,
we'll have her come onto the stage at some point during the podcast and confront you. So what we're going to do now is we are going to put the question to Dad, Pastor Mike, of are Christians commanded to have children if they can, or to try to have children if they can?
When they're married.
When they're married couples. But before we get into his answer and kind of get more to talking about that, we're going to switch to subscriber-only access. So if you want to subscribe, there will be details somewhere to click on the Patreon.
Figure it out later.
And subscribe. Come in there. You'll get early access to launches from Brooks Clothing Store, Living in the Light. You'll get access to the Facebook group where we have a lot of just general encouragement and uplifting things happening in a good community, and then you get to see the rest of these kinds of hangouts, and then that's what you get. So we are going to switch it off and say goodbye to the unpaid, the non-subscribers. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm not saying goodbye. I'll see you on the other side.
Hopefully.